Dr. Fauci, what do you think about being held in contempt of Congress? Do you know how many times you...
So they went to the stadium. They sat alone, far from everybody else, just a mom, a dad, a few kids. They didn't feel they needed to wear masks because it was stupid, because they were outside. They all live together. They're not near anybody. Dr. Fauci, do you know what happened to that mom and that family? That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
They were dragged out of that stadium and arrested. Those policies were put in place because you had moronic politicians that listened to the words of a megalomaniac who was more interested in having met a Kardashian than the suffering of the American people. And that is you. Your advice to communities like that, to idiotic politicians who enforce those rules, arrested that mom for watching a football game with her own family outside. When that story broke, I said to myself, I cannot stand idly on the side and watch this happen. It was about 6 years ago today that I decided I'm going to give up my businesses, sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the do you think you were for doing that?
Can you explain to the committee why you chose to fund this dangerous research in China?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
The real question is, was it dangerous? Was it a wise decision to fund this? And you haven't deviated from that. You've never admitted that it could have been a mistake funding this research in China. The American people weren't asking for a semantics debate over what is gain of function. They were asking, does common sense say this research was dangerous in Wuhan?
Given Senator Paul's obvious obsession with calling for my prosecution, his repeated slanderous comments about me, and recently his publicly releasing my unredacted personal diary aimed at embarrassing and intimidating me, the only conclusion I can reach is that the sole reason he is calling me before this committee is to get me to say something, anything, that could vindicate his repeated public pledges that I end up, in his words, quote, behind bars.
¿Sabías que el primer doctor en alertar sobre el COVID fue obligado a pedir perdón por decir la verdad? Li Wenliang era oftalmólogo en Wuhan. En diciembre de 2019, detectó un virus extraño. Mandó un mensaje a colegas para que se cuidaran. La policía china lo llamó, lo interrogó y le exigió retractarse. El gobierno quería controlar la narrativa, no la enfermedad. Semanas después, el mundo entró en pandemia y Li, el primero en advertirlo, murió por el virus que intentó denunciar. Hoy es recordado como un héroe, pero en vida fue tratado como un enemigo. Porque en sistemas autoritarios, la verdad no es peligrosa por lo que dice, sino por a quién deja en evidencia.